Today on Core Conversations, we have Claire Sparrow. Claire is from the UK, and with her and her family, they have been masters at building community and helping people to make this adjustment to the COVID-19 epidemic. She was able to go from a full in-person studio to an online presence on a Friday to a Monday. I'm not even going to ask her how much sleep she got that weekend. Anyways, join us for the core conversation today. We had a great time digging deep into how we keep the main thing the main thing. Enjoy the conversation.
Cool. Okay, no worries. So, my name's Claire Sparrow, and I'm based in the north of England. And I have a studio here called Chapel Pilates, and that's evolved over many years in different forms. Hi, Becky. I can see lots of people I know jumping in now.
Yes.
And at my studio, I also run an apprenticeship, and I have I host teacher training program that Polestar runs. So there's Polestar UK, and I'm a host centre and an educator
Okay.
outside of London. So I've got all of that going on, and I have three amazing boys.
Hmm.
One, Aaron is 15,
I
and
have an errand too.
oh, do you?
I do.
That's brilliant. Well, is it Aaron or Erin? Because we
It's
have this whole conversation because we have a cousin called Erin with an E. Ours is Aaron with an
double
A.
A. Yes, we're double ARON.
Yeah, so ours is
Yes.
ARRAN, like the Isle of
Okay.
Arran. So
Okay.
yeah, I know it's a complex situation.
Yes. We digress.
So Aaron is my big one, who's 15, and then the middle one, Harris, is 10, also another island off the west coast of Scotland. And then
Okay.
little Ewan, who just turned 7 last week, so he had a lockdown birthday. So
Oh
we did,
yes.
like many people have done on their lockdown birthdays, we did a Zoom dinner with family and all of the things. So
Mhm.
yeah, so little Ewan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's your lockdown birthdays. Yeah, it's so funny. That's our life right now, right? So,
Amazing.
can you tell me about Polestar? Like, I've met maybe
Mm.
one or two people who've done it. So, like, what is Polestar Pilates, and what would be unique differently about them?
Mm. So, I mean, it's an interesting one because immediately within the question, it invites comparison, and it's not necessarily that I would compare or comment on another school because I don't know other than the other ones I trained with. But
Hmm.
what I would say is something that stands out for me with Polestar is that we really teach movement strategy. So we're going to aim for the big extravagant movements in the repertoire, but we're going to teach you the strategy into it.
Okay.
And that's one of the big things that I would say that Polestar brings. Also, it's science driven, so it's
Hmm.
always evolving.
Okay.
We just had a team Zoom, so an international team meeting, which was just phenomenal to
Hmm.
have 160 plus educators and mentors from all over the world come together on Zoom, and we moved together and we shared, and Brent spoke. So Brent Anderson is the Polestar founder and
Okay.
leads us now. And just hearing his vision for Polestar is just
Hmm.
wonderful. So we had quite a moving kind of experience together, and a lot of it was talking around moving forward, not standing still just because something was one way at some point,
Yes.
where we know other things now. We are
Hmm.
influenced in our bodies by other things now. So the way that Polestar is evolving its education is in line with changes in science, changes in our environment, and
Nice.
even now we're changing the way we educate because we can't see people in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Yeah, because that Pilates, we get stuck in the way it was taught, and we hold on to it like a religion that can never change and evolve. So to hear that approach from a science
Mm,
perspective and its evolution, that is
mm.
interesting.
And I think that I love history and I love traditions, and doing my mentorship with Lolita was such a joy because you got the historical perspective, you understood why Eve's lunge was created, and the innovation that Joseph Pilates was bringing every day, the creativity every day. And I feel like right
Mm,
now, in this moment we are in right now, we are channeling that level of creativity that Joseph Pilates was,
yes.
bringing, because it wasn't in his mind, from what Lolita told me, is it wasn't, just that way.
Mm,
There was creativity happening all of the time. When somebody
yes.
came and presented with something, he scratched his head and created an exercise or a bit of apparatus or whatever.
Yes.
So the idea that it could be just boxed up and packaged, that doesn't really sort of fall true with what the way that he taught and
That yeah,
worked with people.
that wasn't the essence
Um,
of what he was creating.
no, absolutely. And it's the why. I always say to people, "Oh, I'm a why learner." So I
Mm,
had some struggles at school because
yes.
if I couldn't get why, if it wasn't clear to me why, what's the point? What's the purpose? Then I just couldn't connect with whatever it was.
But
And
yes.
so now for me, I teach in that same way a lot of the time, so that I can help people understand how this relates to their life. So, how does the 100 relate to their life? How does the roll up relate to their life? And
Yes.
within that, the strategy of how to do that movement. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I
That's
digressed.
no, that you no, you're right on track still. You are
I,
right on track. Because we're talking about that why, and I love what you're saying about being a
mhm,
why learner. And
mhm,
from what you've heard from Lolita and what you know of
mm,
what you've heard of Joseph Pilates, would
mm.
there ever been a time where someone came to him and said, "I just made this exercise up. What do you think?" Or
Um,
do you understand what I'm
do you know,
saying?
I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. He he was quite, from what I understand from Lolita, he was quite precious about his work and the creativity of his work. And I know that there are some stories about him not necessarily being uh, excited to
Or
hear other
receptive?
people's, receptive of other people's creativity. Having said that, he was super creative, and he would look at Lolita, for example, in her beautiful dancers movement, being able to achieve these staggering movements. And then he would look at, well, at her level, where she is a dancer and she is physically super able, how can I still challenge that very capable mover? And
Yes.
that's where, I'd mentioned to you earlier today the idea of possibilities, that
Hmm.
there's always possibilities for progression wherever you
Yes.
are on that scale. So
Yes.
just because you're a gymnast or a dancer or some sort of athlete doesn't mean that there's not possibility for you to move forward somewhere with
I
that.
love what you're saying about how do I challenge. And one of the ways that I find is just a simple way of challenging people is with the leg circle, for example. So if
Mm-hmm.
I have a dancer in my room, I wouldn't necessarily tell them to do a big leg circle because that's easy for them. I tell them to do a small leg circle, then they have to use those stabilizer muscles, or vice
Exactly.
versa. And vice versa for like a football player comes in, I tell him to do a big leg circle where he has to get some mobility through his hips, but keep those shoulders squared. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's a challenge for him where a small one would be easy because it doesn't require any mobility to make a small
Mm-hmm.
circle with really, really tight stabilizers. So
Absolutely.
is that what you're talking about? Like finding that challenge within the body?
Absolutely. And it might be involving the apparatus. So it might be doing leg circles on the reformer involves more cognitive skill because you're coordinating the carriage with a heel stretch while circling the leg.
Mm.
Or it might be that it's somebody who needs to be on the Cadillac, they can't get to the mat, so they're on the Cadillac and they've got both knees bent, but they're still working on stability and mobility. So
Yes.
we can go in either direction, and it's so important.
Hmm.
It's accessible. It's accessible to everybody. It's just looking at understanding, like exactly what you said, exactly that reference to one leg circle, where if you understand what the goal is, the why, then you just go, okay, how do I get that for that person? And then gradually
Yes.
build them or whatever. Yeah.
That was a conversation I was having earlier this week around creativity and
Mm.
strategy, um,
Mm-hmm.
where we talk a lot about the creativity of it, and I look at it from a strategy perspective of how do I get this person here? What is the path to get them there? Which is still creative, and I gave it to them. Like, you're right, it is creativity as well, but I think that the strategy piece is the thing that resonates with me as a coach when I look at that.
Definitely. Strategy is key. I mean, we we've got a way, a strategy of doing something, but and getting from A to B, but is that the efficient way from A to B?
Mm-hmm.
And Polestar, we talk about that a lot, that Brent talks about doing as much as is necessary, but as little as possible, because if you're making, putting a ridiculous amount of effort into something that's really small, then you're
Yes.
never going to get to something like the twist.
Right.
Everything is possible. Yeah, it's just I talk to clients a lot about learning the tricks. I'm the magician. I've got the bag of all the tricks. I know it all. I can just tell you what the trick is, and then
Mhm.
you do it consistently over time, and then you will be able to do the tricks too.
Right. Yes. Yes. Pat has here. Strategy would
Mm,
lead to creativity of how to help the client through the position, move, exercise. I think they
exactly.
both
I
go.
love that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. They go
Yeah.
hand in hand.
They do absolutely go hand in hand. And I think it's tough too, Claire, what you're saying about understanding how our clients move. There's times when there's a move that someone is struggling with, and it's like you have to just move on from that instead of getting stuck in
Oh,
getting them to figure that one piece out. Like, a lot of times our clients, they want to get this one piece, but like, well, the bigger strategy is getting to here. So even if we let this go, you understand what was supposed to happen there so we can continue to move.
hmm, I agree. And I think oftentimes, I think that's like for life too, we get stuck focused on that one thing
Mhm.
and it stops us from moving forwards. And
Yes.
sometimes the honest truth is we have to do do the the thing. We have to just do it messy, do it as it is
Hmm.
to be able to get somewhere with it. Because if we just avoid the thing, then we're never going to get there. So
Yes.
you have to get stuck in and you know, do it
Hmm.
messy.
I remember one of my instructors when I took my first Pilates course, he used to say to us, get used to seeing some really, really bad Pilates for a long time.
That is great advice. I absolutely love that. I think I might give that to my next group of students too, because it's
Yeah.
so true that it's one of the things that shocks people so much when they go into teaching,
Hmm.
because you get so absorbed into your own movement practice and working with your colleagues that then when you're faced with real people in the real
Yes.
world,
Right.
and we talk, I teach all the time in all of my classes, whether it's students or clients. We begin by teaching them how to notice themselves, how to feel,
Really?
because we're so numb in the world that we're in. We're just plowing
Mm.
on through life. And I say, I ask people to, can you feel the difference from one thing to another? And they can't feel the difference because they didn't feel themselves in the first place. So
That
how
is
can they
so
compare?
true. We never talk about that. Well, because I just think if I have a person come in and they've been an athlete, for example, there's a
Yeah.
sense of body awareness that's there that I just run with.
Athletes, it's a whole different ball game. When you're working
And
with
yes,
someone who's already got that movement awareness, then you've got a brilliant foundation to work from.
yes,
Our
but
general population,
yeah,
we have a responsibility that, because if you just think about it this way, if we just teach them the exercises,
hmm
they're then just going to plop those exercises onto the strategy that they already had,
have,
because they haven't noticed.
yes,
They don't know what that beginning strategy is.
right,
So if we can notice, okay, this is where we are now, and that might be that you do a movement screening. We do a movement screening with Polestar, and so we ask them, do a roll up, and how does that feel? What does it look like? Could you do it? Could you not do it? And then we both have a measure of where we begin. Or it
yes.
might just be at the start of and also then I know, well, okay, that's what
This is our
happened. I now
baseline.
know what to teach them.
Yes, yes,
And then even just at the start of a session, lie on the mat and actually just feel how your body makes contact with the mat.
mm,
So where is there weight in not weight? Where is touching
yes,
the mat? Where is not touching the mat? Does it feel tight? Does it feel loose? Like just really simple language to help people tune in.
yes,
And
yes,
then we can go, where is
yes,
touching the mat? Where is not touching the mat? Does it feel tight? Does it feel loose? Like just really simple language to help people tune in.
yes,
And
yes.
then we can go somewhere with that.
So you're basically like we would do in personal training, giving each client a movement screen prior to movement.
Yeah. So we screen all of our
It's so common
clients. We have,
sense.
I mean, it's like,
Yes.
it's common sense. I mean, at my studio, we have hundreds of clients, and with our team of teachers, and almost everyone has a movement screening. We've gone virtual, and
Mm,
I've been doing it like this, saying to people,
really?
okay, show me your roll up today so that we can see where we're at, or Z sit for example. So just whatever it is, so I can see where are we at, so that we've got something to, like, if you don't know where you are, how can you set goals to move forward and progress
Yes.
people? It's the whole why again. I've told you,
It's
like,
the whole
everything
why.
comes back to
Yes.
why and
Mm,
possibilities. We're
mhm.
always looking for possibilities.
Yes. A couple comments here from Pat as well. I found out
Oh yeah.
even with some athletes that self-awareness can create a next level of performance. So yes, but yes, so important. But teach to the general population. I think that I think for too long, participants thought of fitness as a way to zone out and to follow the workout for distraction. But the distraction of real life
And that's
comes
not
from
Pilates,
self-awareness.
is it?
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's not necessarily not Pilates. It's not movement. I think we need to come back to a place of mindful movement, awareness with
Mhm.
where we are in space and how we move.
Mhm.
And Fitz is one of my clients, longtime clients. He says, "What you measure, you'll manage."
I love that. That needs to be a
Yes.
takeaway. That's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. The
Yeah.
one of the things that comes what you're saying here too, Claire, is when we're trying to show a client a movement and they're getting stuck with the movement and we move on to something else and we're going through this flow and through this strategy and this creativity, I think sometimes why we get stuck is because our clients want to have a sense of achievement in the workout.
And we have a responsibility to give that too.
Yes, but I think that we forget about our responsibility to give them that achievement because we want to get through the workout. We want to give them a challenge, we want to make them sweat. But then how many times does this happen where you give someone this workout and they're sweating and they've got through the end of it and then they're thinking at the end of the class, I didn't do my roll up well today. I didn't get that teaser. I didn't nail that roll up. I didn't do that leg circle properly. So they got a workout and they sweated and they did these things, but they never really nailed an exercise. They don't feel they've accomplished anything even though they finished the workout.
And that's where screening and knowing the starting point comes in, because I wouldn't have somebody go into an exercise that they can't achieve.
Ah,
So I would
yes.
know going in that that person's not going to do that teaser, but they might do this teaser, and that might lead us to that one. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
always going to we talk about a positive movement experience. And that doesn't
Yes.
mean necessarily that they're going to achieve completely an exercise,
Hmm.
but they get the positive flavor of it, and
Yes.
they know where they are. So yeah, I would know that that client's not going to reach that.
Okay, so unpack that a little bit more because I love that. So you want to give your clients a positive movement
Hmm.
experience. Okay, can you
Hmm.
say that? Let's say that a different way because I really like that phrase. And I'm probably going to steal that actually.
Well, it's actually a Brent Anderson phrase.
Okay,
So
we'll quote him on that for sure.
yeah, definitely quote him on that one because it's a really important Polestar mantra, is
Okay,
giving, opportunities for a positive movement experience. So unpacking that, we will screen the individual at
okay,
the beginning or at various points so that we understand what the limitations are in their movement and what the capabilities are in their movement. And then we will teach them what they need to improve the limitations and to challenge their capabilities.
yes. So
So that we would only be teaching them what they needed, not just the roll up for the sake of the roll up.
yes,
So
right.
it's for them.
For them, how much percent, like if we were to put a percentage to it, how much focus would you put on what they can't do and what they can do when you look at that? Okay, they can't do this exercise, so let's focus on getting improvement on this area where there's some challenges, and how much is
So
this giving them a feel good workout in there as well?
all of the emphasis is on what their goals are.
Okay.
It's not ever about me or the workout, it's about them.
Hmm.
And so it might be that I'll meet somebody. So if we went with a one-on-one scenario, we'd meet, I'd ask them about their health, blah, blah, all of the stuff. And then we talk about what their goals are. Why are they here? What do they want to get out of doing Pilates? And then we have some goals. Then I'll
Hmm.
pick, based on the information they've given me, I'll pick maybe 3 or 4 exercises. And this is standard. This is what Polestar does all over the world. So this
Okay.
isn't personal to me, but I believe strongly in it.
Hmm.
Um, so we would then pick some exercises that might help us understand, because most of the time somebody's come and said, I don't know, I have a stiff lower back, or I had a frozen shoulder and I want to get back to tennis. There's
Yes.
that's the thing.
Right.
So I'm going to then go, okay, I want to know what their shoulder range of movement is like. So I'm going to do a screening assessment like a goalpost to
Hmm.
understand how they go into that position. What does that do to their spine? And then I'm going to understand what sort of exercises I might need to give them that
Yes.
will get them to their goals, their personal goals, but also work on the movement strategy underneath all of that that they've
Yes.
demonstrated they need to in the assessment. Does
That's
that
great. Oh yeah,
kind
no,
of
I think
clarify that?
it really does. And the reason why I wanted you to speak to that is because I know that that's what you do. Um, but it's interesting that in the Pilates world, I should say it this way, in the personal training world, in the fitness world, that's a common sense practice. Like what you just basically explained was an individualized approach to the person, a movement screen to get
Mm-hmm.
them into, what's going to help get them best to their
Yeah.
goals, and you move from there. And you say it so
Yep.
matter of factly, so common sense. But a lot of times in the Pilates world, or even in yoga too, we just go with our plan.
Mm.
And it
I
happens in
guess, yeah,
fitness too, right?
I forget because I believe in this way so wholeheartedly that I forget that it isn't commonplace necessarily. And because I've
Right.
run my own studios always because I believe in this way. And so I want it to be done
Mhm.
that way. And so my team learned this way, and we do, we
Yes.
have we have a big studio with small studio spaces within it so that even our group mat class would
Yes.
have no more than 8 people in it, so that each person individually, and you are
Yes.
still giving that level of tailor-made support.
Yes.
so that they can progress the way that they need to.
So the largest class that you would have would be no more than,
We have actually 10 in our mat class.
okay.
And then we do spring wall as well. So we have the springboards, balanced body style springboard. So we
Yes.
do 8 for that,
Okay.
because the springs can get lively when you've got, you
Hmm.
know.
I see Harold here, 1080 speed. He's a young guy, track speed, strength, and conditioning coach who's getting into Pilates. So we're
Oh,
talking about
wow.
different courses, and here in Canada, there's
Mm.
obviously we have our Peak Pilates, we have Stop Pilates, we have all
Mm-hmm.
these apprenticeships and all these different places that we can learn from.
Mm-hmm.
From your perspective, Claire, what would you say to someone who wants to just get into the Pilates world? What would be their first step to take in
The,
terms of courses and all this
mm.
stuff out there?
So the thing that I would say is do loads and loads of classes
Okay.
before you look at even doing teacher training, because, I spent a lot of time and a lot of money on a lot of courses
Mm,
looking for the one. I went to Toronto and I trained with Stott like
okay.
ages, a decade ago, because I was looking for the training, the one that was going to answer all my questions. So I
Yes.
did all my training I did with Michael King in London. I did Pilates Institute, it was at the time, in the UK. So I did all of that training with him. And I still had questions. And then I went and I did, obviously, went to Canada and I did various other things in between, shorter courses, looking and getting a flavor for what all the other schools brought. And it wasn't until I met Polestar that I realized that they had the answers to my questions. So
Mm.
to avoid the costly element of training with lots of other schools
Yes.
in the UK, I mean, I was one of the first teachers in the city of Leeds. So there
Okay.
wasn't classes to go to. I had no choice. There was no Pilates anytime. There was nothing. There was nothing. So
Mm.
that's how long I've been doing it. Hi,
You're a
Gail.
pioneer. That's not Gail.
Sort of. And so basically, I had to just go and do. I would say to people, do as many classes at different studios, at lots of different environments to get a feel for what like makes you excited, what makes
Mm.
you, what resonates with you, what makes you feel good in your own body, so that you
Yes.
can then have an idea of what you might like to um, how you might like to teach or what style you might like to teach in,
Mhm.
and then find out a little bit about maybe the teacher training that that particular teacher has done, so you can then go and explore maybe that teacher training and think
Yes.
about what type of schedule you have, commitment, time scale. Cost is part of it too, I know, but almost all teacher training you can just slap on a credit card. So don't let that, be the factor, because, like me, I've paid 4 times more, in
Mm.
fact, than 4 times, because, yeah.
Yeah.
So that you just have to think about it. I'm like, oh my God, I could have bought a
Mm.
house with what I spent on
Oh,
Pilates, and
yes.
not quite, but
Yes, I
but
know what you mean. Yeah. Yes.
it's what happens. So just, don't let the be the deciding factor, because you'll
Yes.
have much more longevity in your career if you've chosen a school that really resonates with you. um,
Absolutely.
and then if they have a short course, a taster course, I would do that. Like Polestar, we have a specific course called Gateway to Pilates,
Mhm.
and that serves the student teacher and us so well, because they come in and they do an introduction, and then they go, oh, actually, teaching isn't for me. I love Pilates,
Mhm.
but teaching isn't for me. Or they go, oh my
Yes.
gosh, I absolutely love this way of doing it. And then they can go into comprehensive. And so then
Yes.
the comprehensive students have got a really good baseline, and they
Mm.
have already gone through that initial process of deciding. So I'm sure loads
Absolutely.
of schools do an intro
They do.
course, and I would
Yes.
recommend that.
Yes, and that's it. And that allows you to just whet your appetite for it because
Hmm.
you find out. I did an intro course, a mat course when I was just out of playing football, just because I felt it helped my back, and I never went
Mm,
anywhere with it, but it was just for my own learning. And then from
yeah.
there went on to other courses. But yeah, if you're really hungry for it, you'll keep
Mm,
searching for it and you'll find what you're looking for. So that's some really good
mm.
advice there.
So when you say football, do you mean
Oh,
soccer or?
sorry. Yes, I'm in
I
Canada.
have to tease you. I know,
Yeah.
I know. Well, my
Yes.
husband has season tickets. He was just really disappointed the other day because they cancelled the London games or whatever it is. So he won't be going to any games in London this year.
Yes. Yes. I make sure
Anyway,
moving forward I'll say American football just to
that's okay. I'm
differentiate.
only teasing.
Isn't it refreshing that even online there isn't very much dialogue around classical versus contemporary Pilates right now when everyone is just trying to survive?
Yeah.
Do you notice that?
So true. Yeah. Now, I was thinking about it in the sort of groups and forums that I'm in, and there really is not the same conversation. It's just so much more about how can we make this work? How can we keep going? How have you done it? Oh, yes, I could do that. And just sharing so
Mhm.
graciously to keep our,
Graciously. Yes.
it's not about, because it's not about us. I was talking to Leslie Logan about this. It's like, it's not about me as an individual or you as an individual. It's about the community as a whole and the longevity of our community of
Yes.
Pilates. It's for the generations beyond us. If we don't fight hard and make it work now, there's not going to be Pilates for my children even.
Right.
We have to dig deep. We have to
Hmm.
get creative and make it work right now more than ever.
There's a saying,
Mm.
the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing.
I love that.
So, what would you say is the main thing in Pilates?
Mm. A whole body health.
He called it the complete exercise system, didn't he?
Mm.
So,
Yeah,
whole body health.
yeah. Yeah, I really, really believe that it isn't just exercises, it is a whole body experience, mind, body,
Hmm.
soul, everything.
Yes.
And it makes a massive difference. You'll have the same thing with your clients that you're seeing virtually now and students that the routine and the change in their mental state, mental health from the beginning of a class to the end of the class is keeping them going in a lot of
Yes.
cases. We
Yes.
have a lot of people, as you will, who live alone, and this is their only contact
Hmm.
with the world is doing their weekly or bi-weekly class, whatever it is. And that's so,
Right.
we have a duty to serve these people and help their whole body health.
Absolutely. That community
Mm.
piece serves them as much as the roll up.
Oh yeah, I mean, community is key. I always put this, I'm always saying this on Instagram. Community is key, connection is key. It absolutely is. And
Hmm.
we've talked a lot about this. My husband really helped me build our studio. So
Okay.
the physical build and the connection with people. So he's always there
Hmm.
liaising with people so they know him and they know, he knows them and they know our kids and
Yes.
everybody knows, and it really is a community. And so sadly we have had some bereavements within our community, and it touches everyone.
It
Everybody
does.
knows and sends their love to those people in our shared
Hmm.
community, and it's huge, and they need that. They really need that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that
Mm,
shared community.
mm,
That's really the key word there, shared community, right?
mhm.
Like, yeah.
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 Yeah,
That's really
yeah,
good.
it is. It is. And my teachers, we have an amazing team, and they really take ownership of that shared community too. It's,
Yes.
I've kind of nurtured and led us here, but they are rising and gathering and holding and supporting all of the time, not just now. And
Yes.
it's not, it can never just be one person. It doesn't work like that, you know?
No, right. Yeah. You strike me as a very confident leader. And that
Uh,
once you build a community, you can let the community thrive in the way that it needs to thrive
mhm.
instead of growing the way you want it to grow, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the possibilities thing, you know, it's the why and the
Yes.
possibilities. You know, I'm
Hmm.
looking at individuals. So I have three amazing apprentices, and they're three utterly different people, and they bring
Hmm.
amazing different things to our community and to their teaching. And
Yes.
it's so important that you can look and see what that person can bring, and
Yes.
help draw that out, and
Yes.
also about how you connect those with clients too, because
Hmm.
you know, I'm not the teacher for every person, and
Right.
just like the other teachers are not the teacher for every person, there's a dialogue and a relationship when you're teaching someone. So
Yes.
I work a lot on how do we connect the right kind of people. What's
Yes.
the class group
The
situation for
dynamic.
that teacher? You know,
Yes.
where did they rise and really do their best work? And
Hmm.
you know, what doesn't sit well for them. You know, I work a lot with pre and postnatal women. I do a lot of pelvic health work. I'm super passionate, created a whole program around that.
Yes.
And I'm super comfortable there, really
Hmm.
comfortable there. And then I have team members who are just like, oh, I'm scared of the pregnant ladies. And
Right.
so I wouldn't ever ask them to teach something where they get that, because how can they serve that person?
Right. Yes.
You know, and then you know, I've got other teachers who are really athletic, and they do lots of running, and they coach running, and that's their thing, and I'm like, yeah, I've
Eh.
just started to run. Mm, the runners are not for me. I don't connect, so why would I teach the people, you
Yes,
know? So
exactly. Yes.
it's so important.
That's so
Yeah.
important. And what it does to it, it makes your community stronger because those weak
Mm-hmm.
links, those areas, you have such a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so broad now because you have
Mm-hmm.
so many people that connect with the diversity of your community.
Absolutely. There's someone
Mm,
to support and serve everyone within the
yes.
community that we're in. So yeah.
Yes. Gail's like, well said.
Oh, thanks, Gail. I know Gail
Really good.
because Gail and I did our PMNP mentorship with Lolita together. And
Oh,
she's
really?
in
Okay.
Florida, and she's just opened her own amazing studio there. So, yeah, so
Yes.
she's joining us from sunny Florida.
I know, not bitter.
Lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a chat
Cool.
with her as well, and
I
her
saw that.
studio. Yeah, she's awesome. I'm so excited for her and what that's gonna become, that space,
Yeah.
and it's been such a
There's
blessing
so
for her.
much, yeah, and I think there's so much need right now for, I mean, I think like I've spoken to Leslie the Reese, because I actually am an agency member, so I am
Hmm.
part of her coaching group online, and it has been fantastic for me because I was really looking for the business perspective and a community outside of my own that I've created or am
Yes.
already part of, where I can be raw and honest and get support and give support, and it's absolutely been amazing for me from that point of view. And I
Yes.
think it's something that the community needs more of.
Hmm.
We can really take this seriously. We can totally have businesses, we can do great work, love people, have a heartfelt purpose, and still
Yes.
make money, and that's okay.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
we can be strategic, and we don't have to apologize for, you know, running it as a business, and, you know, paying our
Yes.
bills, and, you know, it's like a different perspective, I think, that we can help share with our community.
Absolutely. I've said
Hmm.
this before. I have a mentor who used to say to me that you are not a personal trainer, you are a business owner, and your product happens to be fitness.
Hmm.
And that changed my
It's a
perspective because
brilliant mindset to have. Yeah.
yes, and then like because my product has changed from strictly personal training to to Pilates to this to that, and it's bounced around. But I've brought this perspective of I'm a business owner, like yourself.
Hmm.
Your product
Hmm.
is fitness, as opposed to I'm
Hmm.
this warm fuzzy Pilates instructor and I'm just trying to make you feel good. There's another part too, right? We have bills to
Yeah.
pay, we have lights to keep on, right? So
And, we have children and responsibilities, and why would it be any other way?
mhm,
I think I've always had that kind of mindset that um, that kind of harmony. People talk about balance, I think about harmony of I absolutely love what I do. I love my clients, and
mm,
I get the biggest joy when somebody is achieving something in their body that they didn't think was possible, or that they've just learned in that moment. And it's just, I mean, it's phenomenal. I absolutely love that.
yes,
And I can harmonize that with the fact that it was my skill, my experience that has facilitated them on that journey to achieving that. And that has
yes,
value. And so
yes.
that harmony is really, really important. Really important.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you would recommend the agency for anyone?
Definitely would recommend. Yes, big shout out. And she's doing this amazing, like, I can't even believe what great value it is. She's doing Agency Mini coming up, and you pay like virtually nothing. I think it's like less than $50. I mean, it's ridiculous, so cheap. And you get this mini version of what you get with us in agency. So
Yes.
you have coaching, you've got a group of other people who you can bounce ideas off. You've got obviously Leslie, who's just her knowledge bank up here is just mind-boggling. Then
Yes.
you've got Brad, who is the tech savvy, most he any techie question, he's got the answer. Absolutely
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. And I'll be in there. So we have in the Agency Mini, I'm an
Hmm.
ambassador, so because I really value the work and
Yes.
have
I
some
didn't pick up
things
that
to
you valued
share
the work
too.
yet.
So I'll be
Didn't
in
gather that at
Agency
all.
Mini.
Yes.
I
Yes.
know, I told you, didn't I? I'm like a total
Yeah.
open book. I'm
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the most enthusiastic person. If I am on board with something, I'm on board.
On
So
board.
yeah, yeah. So I'll
That's
be an
awesome.
Agency Mini as well, so people
Hmm.
can chat with me in there too. And yeah, it's great.
Great. Yeah, I signed up
Hmm.
for it.
You
I'm
did?
gonna. I did. True
Yay!
story. Yeah, I
That's
did the
so
agency
cool.
meeting because I figured, like, with this core conversations, it has been a really fun little ride, and it's been organically growing, and it's growing so fast now. And I have
Yeah.
like amazing people like yourself that are coming on who just say yes. I ask and they say yes. So let's roll, right? So so
I
I wanna
also,
dive deep with it.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the timing of it too is really amazing because people want to have conversations so much right now.
Hmm.
And I think it's a really great thing that you're doing. I think it's gonna fly. It
Thank you.
really
Yeah,
is.
no, I feel it. I really do feel like these conversations are so rich. It's just like, what do you do? And we just go from there, wherever it goes.
Mm.
What pivots did you make with your business to get through this time from the time you had to close your doors?
Yeah, so we got the notice on the Friday evening that we were going to have to close. And so by the Monday morning, we had converted all of our classes and clients to virtual,
Okay.
and all of the team members were onboarded on that. All of the clients were onboarded. So there was an education that had to happen about how it was going to work. So I run what's called the Pilates gym. So I have four clients all working on personalized programs that I've written based on their screen and their goals.
Okay.
And it's obviously on the apparatus ordinarily.
Hmm.
So I had, I run 10 of those. So I had 40 programs to
Ooh,
rewrite based on
yes.
what clients had
Had
at
in their
home
home. Yes.
and their goals still, because I was not prepared to sacrifice the quality and the gains that people were getting because they were at
Yes.
home. That was
Yes.
yeah, a definite no. I knew that I could be creative enough with what people had at home. Also, we rented spine correctors. We use the OOV. I don't know if you know that, but
Yes.
we use the OOV. We had so we delivered in our area all kinds of small equipment, foam rollers, spine correctors, all of the things. Okay,
That's a parcel
and
of the whole story.
yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
was just amazing. So yeah, so I wrote all of the programs and got them all sort of sent out to everybody to come and do their sessions.
Yes.
And we pretty much just went from Friday being in the studio, Monday all virtual studio,
Wow.
everything. And that was, I mean, hundreds of, yeah, it's quite, it was mildly stressful getting
I
that
know
all
you're
up
playing
and
off like
running.
it's like I just put it together and everything went smooth.
I think the thing is that, I mean, I just was very clear that this was what was needed and we made it
Yes.
happen. And
Yes.
people who know me, like one of my friends, Amy in agency, she said to me, you know, you always make lemonade out of lemons. There's no question.
Hmm.
There's no other option. We're doing this. This is happening. We're going to deliver the same high quality, individualized teaching as we always have. It's just
Wow.
this way. And
Yes.
the feedback has been off the chart, and the creativity's just been amazing.
Yes.
What we can do with things in people's homes, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for
So that
you.
was a big pivot.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have any online presence with classes before this, or just like Friday to Monday? Let's go.
We honestly,
Wow.
we didn't do anything. I've got some clients that I've done by Skype. I've
Hmm.
got, you know, an opera singer who travels all over the world, and I never know where he's going to be. So we always have done by Skype. And then I have had odd clients and student teachers who have come and worked with me, and but they don't live local to me, and so we've worked by
Yes.
Skype, but not not like
On
this.
scale. Yeah. No, this is a
This is, yeah, epic scale.
yeah. Good for
Yeah,
you. That
not,
is
yeah.
strong, like such strong leadership, Claire. That is amazing. That is
Thank you.
very good.
You must have had to do the same thing to turn it around overnight and go virtual.
A little bit. I did have a few clients that I did train online, but I use this time instead of making pivots to continue to grow my business this way to look at what else I can plant. I decided to plant
Brilliant.
trees instead of planting annuals.
Mm-hmm.
And this is it, right? So now in what 6 weeks, this has grown and evolved. So I think everyone started to go put classes online and free workouts and all those different things. I didn't want to compete with that space. I wanted to just
Mm-hmm.
connect the Pilates community and connect the fitness community and highlight what people are doing and highlight the people behind their brand, right? So people see you, and you just shined as an amazing leader who is great at building community. And people see you online and they see some cool exercise moves and some beautiful kids, and they don't know what your Pilates studio is about. So now this is
Mm,
something they get to see another piece of you, and they're going to follow you, and
mm,
they're going to say, I want to see, how
mm.
do I sign up for classes with her? I'd love to provide that for people. So here we
Mm.
are.
Well, it's an amazing, amazing gift that you're giving to the community, and I think you know, people are really going to respond well to it, and it is
Mm.
what the community needs. So yay
Well, thank
you.
you. Thank you. And yay to you. We just flew through 57 minutes.
No, did we? Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
I am such a chatterbox.
No, like my background's in counseling, so I just listen and just ask a question and let people go. So
Brilliant.
yeah.
I find that so interesting that the counselling background, how much that could really be an asset to you as a teacher and doing these, you know, hosting these
Mm,
conversations. I think that's fantastic.
I love my wife jokes about the fact that I'm going on a date every single day.
Brilliant, that's hilarious.
You know.
You just sounded Canadian for the first time there. I have to just say that. The way
Okay.
you said jokes.
Jokes. My that's my brother here online too. He says, Martin, you have become a wind in the sails of the global Pilates movement. Thank you, sir.
Oh, that's a lovely thing to say.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that.
He's absolutely right.
No, it's been fun. It's been an amazing journey.